My guest today is responsible for the physiques of Dr. Dre, Exhibit, GSP, just to name a few. His own physique has led over 100 magazine covers in the US and internationally. He is a 4-time Mr. Olympia contender, 5-time IFBB champion, and the founder of Physique Inc. Please welcome to the show, Stan the Man McQuay.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I actually think this is the first time we've spoken in a non-work or fitness event.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And it's been like many years.
Yeah. I don't know. Should we say how long?
I don't even care at this point because Asian don't raisins.
There you go. Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
So if you guys don't know Stan, he's been in the fitness industry for almost 30 years.
Yeah, right. Probably so. Yeah.
Yes. Sad to say, he doesn't look a day over 31, but anyways, he's in the bodybuilding world, and you started off in Muscle Mania, which is an all-natural physique competition.
Correct.
And now you progressed your ranks in IFBB. So, but let's just start from the beginning. Like, you're pretty young when you started in the fitness industry.
Well, I don't know if I consider myself actually a late starter for bodybuilding because I never really was into like following bodybuilding at all. Like, it just wasn't my thing. I grew up, martial arts, a background heavily, fighting was my thing. So it was like, seeing these guys that were big, there was always, those are the guys we always wanted to fight because we knew they were slow or they were clumsy, and it just, speed was everything. So I don't know. And then I would see the magazines in the grocery stores, and I would just like laugh, like the things that they would wear. Like, I would never want to look like that. I thought that they looked like clowns. So like, it just kind of like,
they wore like striped spandex.
Yeah,
like stripes, the yellow and black,
scruffy socks, and I was like the wrestling shoes. And I just kind of thought like, that's just not my thing. But the background I grew up in, like, I grew up kind of like with a different mentality, so it's like, it was like bodybuilding was a joke, to be honest with you, and I kind of fell into it. But when I fell into it, it happened to be natural bodybuilding is kind of like what I went after. I just didn't want to look like those really big guys.
So what made you enter Muscle Mania? Because it's not like, hey, I want to jump on stage in this tiny ass
banana hammock.
Banana
Yeah, that was the other thing too. Like, because of the fact I've never even seen a bodybuilding show, and this didn't happen until I was about 25. So to me, I thought that was kind of a late start. I know guys like Jay Cutler and a lot of bodybuilders. I mean, they were lifting weights since they were kids, and not me. I didn't ever want to get like that. So I just kind of discovered it. I wanted to get bigger because I wanted to fight, and be more powerful. And I was training with 3 of my buddies in the gym, and we saw a flyer. It was for a bodybuilding show, but again, I didn't know what a bodybuilding show was. I thought like a bodybuilding event or show was like, you go to the club and they bring the guys on the stage and you take the shirt off and the girls go crazy and whoever wins $500 or whatever.
Kind of like men's Hawaiian Tropic or something.
Yeah, like the cheesy thing. So we all started training to lift weights to get ready for this event. And my girlfriend at the time said, "Come to my gym. There's a lot of like big guys here if you want to learn." And it was a powerhouse gym. So I go there, and it's the first time I've ever seen like bodybuilders in person, because at my gym there was no bodybuilders, and they were like all juiced out of their minds. They looked like cartoon characters. Anyways, there's a trainer there, and I show him the flyer, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to hire you I want to beat these guys because all my buddies were bigger than me." And so I hired this guy, and he says, "This is not a hard body competition. This is a bodybuilding show." I said, "Well, what is that?" He goes, "There's one this weekend. Come check it out. You can see what it's about." So literally we go down to Culver City, and this is in 1996. We walk in, and the doors, I'll never forget, the doors open, and there's this guy on stage, and he's got a Speedo. We call it a Speedo back then, Speedo. And I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe this guy's wearing a Speedo on stage in front of all these people. I would never, ever do that. That is like the worst ever, So I get back, and I can't wait to tell my buddies, like, this is what it is. They had no idea either. While I was there, ESPN was filming that particular show, and they had seen me in the audience, and Robin Chang, who was like one of the producers of the show, and Lou Swick was the producer of the show. They had saw me, and they came up to me and they said, "Hey, do you compete?" And I said, "Nah, after seeing this, what I see on stage, that's not my thing for sure." And they said, "Really? You would never do this?" I said, "There's no way I'm putting that thing on." And they said, well, we're promoters. We promote a show called Muscle Mania, which is a natural federation. You don't have to look like that. And we travel around the world. I said, why don't you come in? As a matter of fact, come tomorrow to this video shoot on Venice Boardwalk. And if you're good on video, we'd like to consider you actually doing both, maybe our TV show and competing in the bodybuilding show. I said, I couldn't believe it. So I get home, literally the next day I had a contract from ESPN, and it was to host a show and get ready for a competition and the whole night. So I just literally fell into it. I was getting paid from day one, and that's how I started competing.
You literally stumbled into it.
I stumbled into it. I literally went to that bodybuilding show just trying to learn, like, what is this, And from that day on, within the month, I had my first contract, getting ready for a competition. I hired the same guy that brought me there. He was a bodybuilder, Scott Marshall, and that was the end of it. I kind of fell into it, and like since day one, I was making money and started traveling around the world and competing. And then competing with Muscle Mania, which is the natural federation. I turned pro. And at that point, I really started studying the sport more. So I was already competing as a bodybuilder, but I didn't really have any influences because I just wasn't like, I didn't follow the guys. I started reading the magazines a little bit more to learn about exercises and whatnot. So, but I started seeing familiar faces, and I realized like those guys compete in another division, like another league, and that's the league I want to get to because I'm competitive. So I left the Natural Federation and I switched over to the NPC IFBB, which is the world, bodybuilding organization. Most of the top guys in the history of bodybuilding, that's where they came from.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand that the IFBB is the pinnacle of bodybuilding. So once you say Arnold Schwarzenegger was in it, then they understand.
Correct. Exactly.
Because there's a lot of like the ABCDFG federations, and they can say you're ABCDFG world champion, but if that's not like.
Yeah, I would agree.
Real.
I would agree. So it was kind of a whirlwind career. I'm like, it went by so fast, and I experienced so much. I know I've experienced more than 90% of the bodybuilders that are professional now, because I competed in so many countries as a natural bodybuilder, and then I competed around the United States in the Super Bowl of bodybuilding, the Olympia so many times. That's like, I couldn't ask for a better competitive career. It doesn't matter how many shows I've won. It's just the experiences that I've gotten from it. I'd say that's been the best so far, the best part of all of it.
Yeah. And it's really rare these days to be discovered in the crowd somewhere, because that's like old school way to get, I don't want to say famous, but you got very, very lucky. It's like Pamela Anderson in like sitting in the stands at a football game. It's like that. You're like the male bodybuilding Pamela Anderson.
Well, the crazy thing is not only that, and here's another reason why, like, for me, for my career, is the way it took off is timing is everything, being in the right place at the right time. So I live in the Valley in Southern California. I grew up kind of like in the suburbs, but there's an area nearby called Woodland Hills. And Woodland Hills is where Weider Publications is out of. The Weider Publications that are responsible for like Flex Magazine, Muscle and Fitness, Men's Health, Oxygen, not Oxygen, tons of magazines. But
Flex.
they were the epitome of fitness and bodybuilding. And their headquarters was here. All the photographers, everyone lived over here. So I started getting into bodybuilding. They saw I was competing. They all worked out in my gym. Hey, do you want to be in the magazine? You're always in shape. So literally I would get like first offers on all the gigs from Muscle and Fitness because I'm right here. Always stayed in shape all year round, and I just got a ton of work. Started making a lot of money. Muscle and Fit. I was on, I think, I was the first Asian on Muscle and Fitness magazine, but I was also on like 7 of their covers. Like, I don't know, I know there's been a handful of the guys, but 7 times on that cover is like a super proud achievement for myself, I'd say.
I think it's not only because you're always in good shape, but like you're a good looking guy. It's like they're not going to put some butt ass ugly dude on like a cover. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, absolutely. And I had to say too, like, like if I got to be real, people ask me like, how'd you win the show? And so I said a lot of it obviously was my physique and my charisma, but I mean, your appearance. I don't care what anyone says. If you look a good looking guy and you have that at least a face, it's going to carry you a little further. The bodybuilding is a business too. It's not just a sport. You guys got to like be real with it.
Yeah.
They want to put people on the forefront that's going to represent the sport and attract more eyes. So I'm sure that I've won a show or two, or I've gotten the nod ahead of other guys at various shows because of that. But it is what it is.
Well, it's a total package thing. I mean,
absolutely. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. Um, okay, speaking of magazines, I mean, did you get hate on because you were on the magazine covers and like you're like the pretty boy, let's say?
Yeah, I'd say like a lot of the guys, especially like in the competitive ranks of like, let's say NPC in the early years, I would get a lot of shit talkers, pretty boy, but or just yeah, I can't help it how I look, or they're jealous because I'm in the magazines, and it would say in the bottom model Stan McQuay, and like I don't ask for these titles or whatever, but it is what it is, and people always kind of get that first preconceived notion that like that's all I'm about. I'm not like I'm like a model or just a I don't know. I have no idea what they think, but I've heard all kinds of comments.
I think it stems from insecurity for sure.
Well, yeah, and a ton of that, of course, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So for the people that aren't bodybuilding fans, Stan competes in, I think it's the 202 now. So that's like the
Actually, I'm in
Olympia.
classic physique now. That's
Oh,
the newest division. Yeah. Well, that's what I was in, not no longer now, but that's what I end up retiring in is the classic physique division.
see, there's just so many divisions now. It's just like,
Yeah.
how can one keep track? There's like a new one called wellness or something.
Yeah.
I was like, what
Exactly.
is that? And they're like, oh, it's like lots of leg and glutes. I'm like, oh, so Instagram model division.
Yeah, I would say that that's exactly right. It's basically bikini models, but with like way more curves, even like some fake butts. That's okay. Like that's kind of what the division's about. It seems like to me.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's like it defeats the purpose. It's like more of a competition, like, oh, who has the best butt implants that look real?
I mean, I kind of like look at it a little bit differently as well, because if you really think about it, like if you have the different divisions of competitors for fitness, but also you have natural federation, then you have the federations where it's kind of like they don't even ask any questions. So in a sense, like a lot of these guys are taking really exotic drugs, not just anabolics and steroids, but like experimental stuff, peptides that you don't really know what's going to happen, and do some pretty phenomenal things with muscle growth. But at the same time, it's really not that much different. Or let me take a step back. A lot of these guys are doing side injections for their biceps or their shoulders, and in a sense, it's really not much different than a girl going in and injecting her butt. I mean, you know what I mean? The only difference is you don't have to work out to make that happen. But like what I'm saying is, with bodybuilding, even like the open bodybuilders, a lot of that stuff it's fake stuff too.
You got a point there. So thanks for checking
Yeah.
me on that.
Yeah, like a lot of people don't want to recognize that, a lot of, especially being a bodybuilder, these guys like I work hard for my muscle, and it's not the anabolics, and it's not the site injection, it's not the this and that, and it's the same exact thing, it's
Yeah.
all
Well, I mean,
cosmetic. You're going for a look, right?
you guys work hard regardless, but it's just that extra help.
Yes. Now,
All right.
I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, you know, you'd be surprised at some of the guys on stage and how much of it is actually real muscle and how much of it is not real.
No way. Like that synthol stuff is what you're talking about?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No, that's like, I remember that guy with the arms, Greg Valentine or
Rick
something.
Valentino, yes. Yeah.
I'm thinking of the wrestler.
Right.
But yeah, that his arms are so freaking gross. I remember seeing that like 15 years ago. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did a documentary on him.
Years ago, probably.
Yeah, about the arms. Yeah, he's still around.
This gross arms or no?
No, he's still a big guy. He just doesn't have the arms that are as big anymore.
Those are ridiculous.
Yeah.
So Muscle Mania was a natural federation, and then you switched over to the NBC and IFBB. Was that when you started like using little enhancements?
Yeah. So like, I competed naturally, but I did my first NPC show still natural, and I qualified for the USA's, and I wanted to go right to the top. And plus I already felt all the pressure. A lot of people already knew who I was at that point. So I think it was like 1998. I went and did my first USA's, and I'm fully natural. And I remember seeing all these guys. These are the guys I see in the same magazines I'm in, but they're in the competitive areas. The photography. I'm doing the modeling stuff, and they're doing the bodybuilding stuff. So I'd see them in there, and they're all backstage, but they were huge. Like big difference between me and them. I did my first USA's, and I took I think it was a 4th place or 5th place in my first. Basically, it was the first. First call outs as a natural, and I was just hooked after that. And I decided, I was already in college. I had been studying kinesiology, and been studying steroids for so long now. I said, I think I want to be more competitive. And so I took that commitment into, using anabolics after my first USAs. After that, it was like, a whirlwind. I was a top national guy for years, and once you turn pro, you can't turn back, and it's like it's a never ending story.
Do you remember your first time taking any of that stuff? Like, I honestly, I don't know anything about steroids and stuff, so don't think I'm pretending, but I honestly don't know. Like, do you remember the first time you had an injection or something where you're like, oh my God, what did I do? Or
yeah, I remember the guy gave me like the box and had needles, and I he didn't tell me anything. I just know I had a handbook. There was like a steroid book, and I remember seeing the diagrams, and I remember I sat in the bathroom, and I think I stabbed my butt 20 times because I would push it in and drop it, push it in and pull it back out. And I'd be so scared to do it. Like literally I was bleeding all over the place. I just kept stabbing it in and out, and I'd freak out. Yeah, I'll never forget that. Yeah, that was a horrible moment. Every time you had to do it, it was like so traumatizing.
Why didn't the guy do it for you? Was that like?
No, I don't know. I just like, it was too embarrassed to even ask him. And
yeah,
I don't know. It was so like not a fun situation in your first year doing this.
Yeah, no, like I think I gave myself B12 injections a couple, and I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? It feels like steroids.
Oh my God, you felt like a junkie.
I did. I was like, oh my God. Okay, so did you feel like a rush when training on the drugs?
Oh yeah, there's a clear difference of when you're using anabolics, and then not only that, there's a clear difference of the variety of anabolics. So, becoming a bodybuilder and you're getting ready for show, there's so many different compounds, and you can really feel what each of these do to you. And they all make you, a little more on the aggressive side. Your recovery is amazing. You can recover, times 3 or 4. So that's like, as you get older, that's the main benefit of actually taking anabolic. And of course, the build rates of how much muscle and how much body fat comes off you is like way faster. So yeah, it's like, it's kind of, makes you think like, damn, all these years I was doing this, well, like why wasn't I doing this before? But just like anything, everything has a downside. So that's where a lot of guys, they don't understand, or they don't study, or they don't even care. It's all they care about is the moments, and not think about what's going to happen in the future. So it could be a very dangerous thing. But like for myself, I mean, I studied it. Like I felt like I was a guru, and hadn't even used it yet. So I knew exactly what I was doing, and I still to this day, I get my blood work done, and I know how to read my labs. So it's really important to know what you're doing when it comes to this stuff.
And you research it before Google, like you actually read books and magazines on the subject.
I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of stuff, I mean, really, it was only a couple of handbooks, but and lots of questioning other guys, and kind of figuring things out on your own, and hiring people that were more experienced. So I had always hired a coach, for those reasons, because it's like I couldn't find enough answers to questions I had just based on books. So I'm going to go to the next best thing and go to guys that were professional bodybuilders themselves. I've used all these things, experimented, and kind of like get an understanding of who's knowledgeable and who's just crazy with this stuff.
Do you feel like anyone tried to steer you the wrong way because they try to kibosh you?
I've met a couple guys probably in my time that like were giving poor advice, because you'd be surprised. I mean, a lot of these guys, even though they use this stuff, they really don't know what they're doing. They have no idea the chemistry of how these things work. So, I had already kind of had a knowledge of what I think was like moderate and what's heavy usage. And, there was guys that were like, take double what I thought was heavy dosage. So, it's really scary.
Yeah. And it's, what's crazy is like guys that are even in like a men's physique, they would take crazy amounts compared to what you were taking back when you were starting, probably.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it's just the evolution of anabolics and all the new drugs that are out, and people by more studies and more internet access to where people are logging what they're doing, that it gets more people comfortable with experimenting with new stuff. Yeah, you'd be surprised, because I coach, so I've got guys, even girls that came from even bikini, that were taking almost the same amount of drugs as like early stage 90s bodybuilders. It's really scary that like a female would take anabolics to get ready for a bikini show. But
yeah,
yeah, it's really sad that they get poor advice, you know, or they're insecure themselves and like, I don't care, I want to take this stuff, you know. Yeah, I do see that, and yeah, and even with men's physique, you know, like, I mean, really, essentially, they're still bodybuilders. They're just in a division that doesn't pose and show as much of their physique, but they take a lot of stuff too. I mean, it's, you know, it's kind of sad,
Well,
scary.
they're huge now compared to when men's physique first began.
Oh man, yeah, they're bodybuilders in surf shorts.
Yeah. Did you ever like think about competing in men's physique, or you were like, never? That's like
Well, I
beneath
mean,
me.
you know, the funny thing is, like, you know, I developed into, which was the newer bodybuilding division. It was the 212 division. You know, it went from a 202 to a 212 division. And, you know, to compete in the 212 division, yeah, that right there in that picture, I'm probably more like around 200 pounds. So I'm still giving up 12 pounds on top of that. And I just couldn't keep up. Like, you know, I wasn't willing to take the heavy amount of drugs. I worked very hard. I ate a ton of food, more food than any guy I knew. And I just didn't want to keep up with that lifestyle anymore. So then, you know, I was really, you know, on the verge of retiring. And then they came out with another division, which was the classic physique division. So with that, you know, no, I'm sorry, the men's physique division. And, you know, we all laughed about it because there was no poses and, you know, but it's like, in theory, I thought this is a good way to get your mind away from trying to be so big and to give you a goal to, you know, tone it down but you know, we never went that route. It was just so, you know, when it first came out, I didn't want to deal with the slack from the guys, you know,
Yeah.
not even gonna lie.
I call it men's bikini.
Yeah, not gonna lie, but don't get me wrong. The guys nowadays, I mean, they could smoke a lot of the bodybuilders, you know, that with their physiques. It's just it's not my style. You know, I like bodybuilding, so I stuck with it.
Yeah. When did you consider starting retirement?
Um, Probably like when I had my son. When I had my son Kai, I was still, you know, I was still heavily competing on the circuit with IFBB, but like, you know, it just got to the point where I like, you know, I had already been to the Olympia 3 times at the time, and you know, like I knew in my head that, you know, I'm never going to win the Olympia because at that point, it doesn't matter how much hard work you put into this. It doesn't matter how much food you eat or how many drugs you take. It comes down to the last thing that, you know, you either have or you don't is the genetics, you know. And I have very good genetics for bodybuilding, but I don't have enough genetics to be the best 212 bodybuilder like Flex Lewis. And I just remember being backstage and looking at him. Flex Lewis is like the 6-time Mr. Olympia for the 212 division. And I just remember staring at him and just being in awe because his genetics were just, for bodybuilding, were so superior than anybody else's. He had like perfect calves and the small joints, and every muscle belly was like just big and perfect. And I'll never beat that. So what am I doing? You know, how much more money can I make out of this industry? And I was like, I started, you know, kind of having second thoughts about everything. And you know, why not exit when I'm still healthy? I've never had an injury, never been sick from using anabolics or any of that stuff. So I gave myself a goal. I said, if I win, you know, my ultimate goal would be to retire with a win and an Olympic qualification, and I'll quit. So I aimed for that, and it took me 2 years to get that. But once I got that, I said, that's it. So I won my very last show, which was in Dominican Republic, at Victor Martinez's show, and then I got the Olympia invites, a qualification, but I retired instead.
What year was that?
2016.
Wait, you were retired in 2016?
Yeah, I was retired. Yeah.
20, really?
Yeah.
I just thought it was in the last like few years or something.
No, and time flies though too, you know, like I feel like that too, but yeah, 2016, 18, 16, I don't know, 16 or 18, but still it's around that time. Yeah.
Wow, I'm like super flabbergasted. I think it's 2018 because I feel like it wasn't like
Maybe it was 18, but like, you know, like I still
whatever. It's
train,
all the
you
same
know,
now.
I still train, I still take care of myself, maybe, you know, a lot of guys still think I'm still going to get ready for a show. So it's like, it's just a lifestyle, you know, so the competing part, I don't want to do.
Yeah, no, it's no fun. Dieting
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, the dieting sucks. I mean, we always eat clean, but like I just don't want to go through all that. Like you know, I dieted, by competition dieted for 20 years straight. Like no joke, 20 years straight. And it was like, I don't want to do that. Like I said, I don't have the same motivation, and like I can't ask for a better ending to a career of competing 20 years, never been hurt or sick, and ending on like the last show I ever did was a win. So it's like, that's it. I don't want to tarnish that, you know?
Yeah. Do you feel like they favor the new generation though?
Um, I mean, they should, because a lot of these guys, you know, what they're bringing to the table. You got. It's hard to find people that can represent the business. You know, that have the charisma, not just the physique. So I think if they are, a lot of these guys deserve it. You know, there's lots of good talent out right now. Like, and that's another reason why I wanted to retire too, because, you know, say for instance with the new classic physique division, where it's all about aesthetics and your symmetry. I knew there was a lot of guys out there that are unknown that have the most amazing genetics with a 24-inch waist, with a 20-inch biceps, just phenomenal physiques. And you're just starting to see these guys come out now. And again, it's the evolution. And if you have the genetics, you're going to be the most superior. And, you know, I was, you know, 40 something years old at that point. And like, how long do you want to keep taking steroids for, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I didn't want to do that anymore.
I feel that. Speaking of the new generation, with the whole social media thing, Instagram, it's not about the magazine covers now, it's about how many followers you have. And I feel like if you had Instagram back in the day, you'd be freaking killing it. But, you know, you're not like the new generation anymore. So there was one story you told me at the Olympia where you're at the dark sport booth and all these young gunners are at the booth and their fans are coming up. Could you tell this story? Because you're probably going to tell it better than I can.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I don't remember what year it was, but it was like maybe 2014 or 15. And, you know, one of my sponsors is Dark Sport. And Dark Sport is like probably the number one bodybuilding and lifestyle clothing in our industry. And on all the guys that are signed on the team are you know, top Olympia level guys for men physique. You know, like at the top 5, we had like 4 of the guys were signed by Dark Sport. So anyways, we're at the Olympia booth, and it's a booth like, you know, for those of you never been to a competition, or like it's an expo. You know, you stand around and all the fans come, they want to take pictures with you and discuss and talk some stuff with you. So all of us were there at the Dark Sport booth. We had a huge booth, and it was like one of the very first expos where I actually stood there and like I didn't have anyone coming up to me. People were like, "Excuse me, will you take this picture of us?" You know, like I was a photographer. Yeah, I was all that. I'm like, oh my God, this is like, I guess I'm just getting old now. Like people don't even know who I am now. And the younger generation is coming through. So it was another one of those kicking the ass where it's like, maybe you should try something different.
It's super humbling, I'm sure.
Oh my God, it so is.
It's like, I think you said some guy was like, oh, like, how do I know you? Or some shit like that. And
Yeah,
you're
I was
like,
thinking that too. Like, what's your name again? And I was like,
oh,
Stan. And like, nah, it doesn't ring a bell. Like, oh, okay. It's
don't
funny.
worry about it, kid.
You compete? Yeah, I compete. Yeah.
That's like the worst. Not like it
Right.
ever, not like, you know, I'm at your stature, but it's like brings you back down to earth. And I'm
Yeah.
sure people that, you know, when we were young and the old timers are on their exit, I'm sure it happened to them too.
Oh, you know, I'm sure it does, you know, but yeah, that's fine. But it was just like a kind of an eye opener, and it was like, whoa, I guess I am getting old.
Well, if I was there, I'd be your hype man. Like, this guy's been on so many magazine covers and like da 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 da.
Yeah, and you know what they say? Magazines. Who reads magazines?
That's
That's what
true.
they say, you know.
You know, that was like every person's dream to be in a magazine. Now it's just like whatever. Even like my younger friends, the millennials, they're like, no one reads magazines anymore. Who cares about that? I'm like, oh, okay.
I know, it's so true. That was a goal of mine too. I remember, like, it wasn't even like bodybuilding. It was like, you know, my goal is to like be in the magazine, not like even to be on the cover. I just want to be in one of those articles, you know. And I was like, and I remember walking my first Olympia. It was like '97 Olympia Expo, and like walking around and seeing all the people in the magazines, and I was just in awe. Like to me, that was more exciting than being on the Olympia stage. I was just like, I want to be one of those guys. And like the guy that I idolized at the time, it wasn't any of the big Olympia guys. It was a smaller guy. It was Danny Hester.
Hmm.
Remember Danny Hester? Danny
Yeah, he's still
Hester was like
competing,
the
no?
first like EAS model with Monica Brandt, you know, and they used to do like the
Wow.
transformation giveaways, you know, the before and after and whatnot. But I remember seeing him on an ad, and it was him in front of like a Lamborghini, and Monica Brandt, I think, or some girl was like,
So
you know,
90s.
Leanne Tween, or one of those girls was like laying, you know, and he had
What?
jeans on. He said jeans and a shirt on. And he was standing there all cool looking. I said, that to me, that's what I want to be right there. I want to be him.
And
And
now
that
you're
was like,
friends with him.
yeah. And then we became buddies, and it was like, you know, it was like kind of like a great point in my career of meeting Danny and becoming friends with like the guy I idolized.
That's crazy because he still competes.
Yeah, he still competes. Yes,
That's
he's been.
insane.
Yeah, he just like he started late in a sense. He started early, but he just didn't go hard. Like he would take some time off, and he worked on businesses, and so he was really smart with how he didn't abuse his body. That's how he's still able to compete in his 50s.
That's insane that he's in his
Yeah.
50s.
Yep.
That's crazy. So we obviously know that you trained hard, like you dieted hard, you competed hard, but you also partied hard, if you don't mind me saying.
I did. I did.
You're like Mr. Vegas in, I don't know, maybe sometime in 2000s.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I started hearing that, I just never really thought about that. But like Las Vegas is like our backyard. If you live in LA, everyone was in Vegas on the weekends. So
Yeah.
I was there so much. I had so many of my friends that were there. I knew all the bouncers, all the promoters. So I was just there a lot. And it just kind of went hand in hand with, the club culture and the DJ culture was really booming then. So like these big DJs would come in and we would all go there and like terrorize that town for 3 nights straight. I was I'd say, yeah, I was pretty bad.
I remember the Olympia after parties at the pool. They were the funnest. Now it's just like nothing.
I know it's just
It's
it's totally corny. It's not the same now.
But how did you balance partying and competing? Because if you're drinking out late, that totally goes against like your diet, your everything else, waking up on time, and like how does that even work?
I think it was a catch-22 for me. Like I always felt I had the hardest time improving in bodybuilding with like really getting bigger faster, and a lot of that was because I never really gave up the partying on the weekends. I wasn't a big drinker, but I did do a lot of like recreational drugs on the weekends, and we would be up 2-3 nights partying, and you just cannot put on muscle when you're doing that. But I'll tell you what, I was still lifting, I was still eating as much as I could, and training. I was always ripped. So the catch-22 part about it was hard to gain muscle, but like because of the fact that Weeder Publications was nearby, if they called, and they called all the time, I was always in shape because the partying. It never let me put on shit weight. I was always sweating and dancing and like, yeah. So I like, it was like kind of like part of my regimen.
Grinding your teeth, that jawline.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's a good regimen. I was on that Hollywood diet, a couple times a month. Yeah.
But didn't your kidneys or liver like suffer? Because I mean, you're putting.
It was a lot of stress, because I would be even getting ready for competitions, and I would still be partying. I would say, "Oh my God, I'm going to cut it off at a month out," and yeah, it was a lot of. It took a toll on the liver and kidneys, I'm sure. But again, because I follow protocols with the anabolics, and I would, watch my blood, I would do the same. If I was partying a lot, I would get my labs done and see what's going on. Am I really stressing my liver and kidneys out that much? Am I gonna die?
That's insane.
Yeah,
that's insane because obviously from doing your homework, which takes a little bit of time, mind you, but it afforded you the luxury of partying and being in like an excellent shape for magazine shoots.
Yeah, so that's the catch-22. I mean, it definitely kept me in shape.
That's crazy. Well, usually after a night of drinking, like I looked ripped the next day for like an hour, and then it goes away.
Right. Yeah,
it goes away though.
Yeah, I know.
It's like Bloat City. Okay, so again, like I said, you're an attractive dude. Magazine covers. You're very humble. Magazine covers, whatever. Have you ever tried to dabble into acting? Because I mean, that would be the natural step, no?
The crazy thing is I tried it. It's just like I don't do well with with anxiety, and then everyone that's in acting goes, "Are you kidding me? How in the hell do you get on stage in front of 1,000 people in your banana hammock?"
In a Speedo.
I guess it's just like with anything. Yeah, just like with anything, it's just training, right? You just get used to it. But like I just couldn't. It just wasn't for me. I had so many opportunities, and I just couldn't act. So, but I did get turned on, and this is how we have mutual friends. Is I was really turned on to the backside of the acting, and that's like the stunts. And two of my best friends are two of the biggest stuntmen in the industry: Troy Robinson, who is Vin Diesel's stunt double, and Tanoi Reed, which is The Rock's stunt double. They were trying to like pull me in and get me some gigs doing some stunts, and I kind of went that route and have some credits to my name and whatnot. But I don't know, like I could still follow up with that. I could still do that, but at the time, I couldn't double anybody because I'm still competing. So every time I would go to like these, stunt coordinators and, ask if they're hiring, they're like, you need to lose a lot of weight because you can't double anybody. You stand out like a sore thumb. So
You look like a meatball.
yeah. So like when you're retired and when you lose all that muscle, come talk to us again. So I just never went back, and I've been doing well with everything I do now. But that's kind of what I did instead of the acting, was just behind the scenes stuff.
Would you try it given the opportunity? Or is it just like late in the game that you're like,
Yeah, at this point, if I had even a good opportunity, I would probably say no, just because I don't know. As I got older, there's one thing I did notice about myself that I had developed. It was like a social anxiety, and I just don't like. I don't do well with like when I have a lot of anxiety and acting, being on set, and you're having to act a character or read lines in front of 50 people. It's just too nerve-wracking. I don't care how much I practice it. It's not for me.
It's funny because I think a lot of actors have anxiety in the general public. Like on set, they're fine.
Right. Yeah, I
but
noticed that too. Yeah. They're like really
yeah,
socially awkward, like around people, but behind the cameras are like in their realm.
yeah. So it's kind of like the opposite for you
Yeah, I can't do it.
at all.
No, it's not like
I would
I
have never
wish I
guessed.
could. I had so many opportunities, and I wish I could, but I can't. It's not. I don't have the patience either.
I would never have guessed you have social anxiety. I just felt like every time I saw you at like an event or whatever, you were very cordial, but I don't know how to say, not I don't want to say robotic because that's not it, but you're like cordial, but
Yeah.
not personal.
Right.
Personal.
No,
Yeah.
I get that a lot too. Like the only way I would really loosen up is if I was out partying, and that's probably why I did it so much, because I was an introvert most of my life. So doing the bodybuilding thing, people say, well, how do you do it? Well, you have so many things going on in your head with trying to remember routine, you're so drained, and then when you actually get on stage, you can't even see anybody in the audience because the lights are so bright. So it's kind of like you don't see it, and you practice in front of the mirror, all these things. So it's not the same. And acting is, I don't know, it's just like a totally different realm. And anyways, but the point is, I grew up as an introvert, so like the only time I would probably I feel more approachable or when I'm loose is when I'm not really myself.
Right.
So when I'm not on stuff, like I just kind of feel like I'm like, I don't know, especially bodybuilding events. Like as I got older, like when I sometimes work in the booth, it's like really nerve wracking. And when people are staring at you, like I get really uptight about it now. Whereas before I would, I know I look good and I would wear the tank tops with no problem. Now I'm like, I feel like everyone's analyzing me and this is like, things changed. I wish I wasn't like that.
That is so odd to me to hear that you're introvert because I would have never guessed.
Yeah, very. So as a matter of fact, really embarrassing moment was in junior high school. I went to a really big junior high school here. And I remember the yearbook polls came out. And before that, you had to go and take the pictures. You take the pictures for the yearbook polls. You know what I'm talking about, like the most popular, big class clown. And
Most likely to like be president and stuff.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So embarrassing that when I get the thing and it says shyest.
Are you serious?
Yeah, shyest. And in the picture, and then I took the picture with this girl. I wasn't even looking at the camera. I was like kind of looking down even. And it was like, oh my God. And I remember walking through the halls and I would stare. I would I wasn't good at making eye contact with people. So I would look at the floor. I was just so shy. I don't understand why. But I got picked that in junior high. That was like, I don't know. It was so embarrassing to see that. So I made every effort to like really try to come out of that,
That is so cute. Like I'm just imagining little Stan McQuay, like
Yeah.
look at the ground, all skinny.
Oh my God. I know I did it too because I couldn't, I just didn't feel comfortable like really engaging with people. So come full circle, I get into bodybuilding and that's an all about like, look at me, industry, like to where like now I don't like to be looked at.
That's funny because it's like little man syndrome, or like that guy in high school. He's a super nerd and geek, got teased on, and now he's like a big douchebag. It's sort of like that, but not quite. I'm not saying you're a douchebag.
Oh my God. That's so funny. That's hilarious.
Like I was shy too, and like I went on stage in a bikini and whatever, this and that, but I kind of understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, and people go, well, what do you mean? Look at you putting tattoos all over yourself. But I don't know. Like I just maybe like it's kind of like, don't look at me, but look at my tattoos. I don't know. I just like tattoos. That's my new thing, is getting everything covered.
Yeah, you got a new neck piece right there.
Yeah, your neck piece, like my whole back is covered.
Is that or what is it?
It's just an art piece. So
okay. So to me, it looks like a vertebrae / like a Samoan type of.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how I see it. Do you think being introverted is because you're biracial? Your mom's Japanese, your dad is Caucasian.
Yeah, without a doubt. My father is kind of like a very, very conservative guy, you know, old school. And then my mother being, you know, Japanese, and a lot of the Asian cultures, they're not very like affectionate and just very kind of, you know, I don't know how to describe it, but like, yeah, I definitely got both of their traits were like, shy, you know, I'm not going to say timid, you know, but like just to myself, you know, and then like it's been an issue in past relationships too, where like I'm not very affectionate, and or you know, like, you know, I didn't used to do well with PDA, you know, like even I grew up American, but still like it's for some reason it's in my genetics where I just like was kind of like that a lot of my life. So a lot of people would say, oh, Stan's not approachable. He looks like he's mad, or he looks like he's just being a dick. Or it's like, I'm more like, I'm just shy.
You have the RAF, resting asshole face. Is that?
Oh my God.
I'm RBF.
Really? Oh my God. That is awesome.
It's a new one.
Great. That's a good one.
So funny. Did you learn Japanese from your mom, or do you speak Japanese?
No, man, I wish she did. Maybe when I was like, you know, young, I spoke some of it, but like my mother spoke no English when she moved here. So it was like, you know, like it was like, you know, for her to get work here, it was like she had to take a crash course on how to speak English. So teaching me Japanese was like, got put on the back burner.
So how did you guys, I mean, she obviously had to communicate with you. You're her son, but did she try to speak her broken English? Or?
Broken English. She would force herself only broken English to speak to me.
So that she can learn, but she never passed on Japanese on.
Yeah, exactly. And then we grew up where when both my parents had to work. You know, my mother worked night shift and my father worked all day. So it was like, I never really got to see both my parents, like, you know, help me through anything. So it was like, again, like a lot of the things growing up with where I, you know, maybe I missed out on some emotional connections or how to be like, I don't know, how to be socialized. I didn't really have a lot of that, you know?
Yeah. Well, my parents worked a lot too. And like, I was like, I'm not saying I was fending for myself, but it was a lot of like time at home alone watching Much Music, which is like Canadian MTV. But I also was not really affectionate until like maybe in my freaking late 20s.
Yeah, maybe I think I was like that too.
Yeah, you don't talk about your feelings, your emotions because you're Asian.
Yeah, I mean, I say that I don't want to always like use that as an excuse, but I tend to see that a lot of Asian cultures are really like that. The whole culture is like that.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, you go to Japan, you do not walk around holding hands. Like no one does that. You know, it's like very strange. You know, but like no, there's no PDA at all.
So was there like a pivoting point where you were like more open to that, or are you still like like PDA?
Yeah, no, it's called, you know, trying to improve yourself in relationships. You know, I had a lot of failed relationships because of that. So it's like you have to kind of force yourself to change and come out of your shell or to improve if you want to be better. So, you know, I've gone to therapy and, you know, really take a step back to really practice things to try and, you know, with everything, like I went from being shy to like, you know, how to learn how to communicate with people by taking communication courses. I took speech classes and, you know, things like that in college, you know, so that I knew I didn't want to be a certain way. So I would try to come out of that. And same with relationship stuff. You know, you're going to be in a relationship and no one's going to be perfect. You're always going to have these conflicts and, you know, you have these flaws in yourself. So if you want to, you know, be the best you can be, you got to really find ways to improve that. You got to learn.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And also I was trying to find the correlation between being introverted and shy, but you're kind of like, you got into like trouble when you were younger too. You weren't like pristine. You weren't an angel.
Yeah. Like
I'm sorry to bring this up.
You know, it's very strange. Like Well, I guess it's not really strange. I grew up in, both my parents are still together. I had a great
Your
family.
mom is very beautiful, by the way. Like,
Oh,
I just want
thanks.
to tell everyone, like, she's rarely on his stories, but I see his stories maybe like once a year and she's on it. But she's so beautiful. I can see why your dad was like, "You're coming back with me to America."
Yeah, same here. That's what I say too. So you got lucky, dude.
He did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So where was I in that?
So how'd you get into the bad scene being such a shy kid?
Okay, so I grew up in, we grew up in a middle class neighborhood, but I went to a high school that was like, they had like a no tolerance policy. I had a really hot girlfriend in high school, and all the guys would hit on her, and she was older. So it was like my ninth, or was the first year of high school, ninth grade year. She had already been there a year ahead of me, and had all these established guy friends. So when I get there, a lot of the guys were hating on me. I got in one fight, and they kicked me out. And when they kicked me out, they kicked me to the school across town that is the complete opposite. It's not it's a lot of minorities. Like really, there
That
was
night?
no wealthy kids. It was just like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was like a culture shock because
Where
I
was
grew
it?
up. It was at Canoga Park, which is
Oh
like
yeah, that's kind of like
yeah, it's
that.
predominant. It's predominantly Hispanic school, but it was like you get in 10 fights there and you're not going nowhere. Whereas the school I just came from, you just you call someone a name, they kick you out. So that was where a lot of things changed in my life. Is you're a product of your environment. So I started hanging out with like tougher guys, guys that like to get in trouble, and like it was just I needed something to cling on to because I didn't know anybody at that, and when you're 15, 16 years old, it's like, you're desperate to have anybody because I was so shy as it was. Now I had to go to school. I didn't know anybody growing up. Yeah, it was like I kind of like got forced to hang out with guys that I felt more comfortable with, and those were the guys. So yeah, I went through a lot, in high school and college, like seen a lot, and um, I wouldn't change a thing though. I would have to say that bodybuilding did save my life because if I didn't find bodybuilding, I would for sure be in jail or I would be dead.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Now, did growing up at Canoga Park make you listen to Slayer and Slipknot?
It's funny. I didn't really listen to that, although like a lot of that, the guys I grew up, at that era, they did listen to. But like, we grew up I grew up around gangs, so we listened to gangster rap like heavily.
Okay, well, speaking of which, you were a trainer to Dr. Dre. Speaking of gangster rap, how long did you train him for? Look
Yeah,
at
I
him; he's like
trained.
Jack there. Did you?
Yeah. That, as a matter of fact, that was at his, probably his peak for, getting in shape. This was, we were working together for about 2 years. And I'm talking like 6, 7 days a week for 2 years. He's a very
Dang.
dedicated human being in everything he does. That's why he's the best in the industry. But like, yeah, at that, he was getting ready for MTV. He got a special award for MTV, like a lifetime achievement award. And that, I remember we picked that shirt out, and I said, you should show your physique a little bit, people are going to go crazy. And sure enough, it went like viral. Some of it was negative. Oh, he's using steroids or
Oh my God!
whatever.
Of course
But
you're gonna
like,
say that.
that's always the first excuse they want to say. But that wasn't the case. Anyone can talk shit all they want. I worked directly with him, and that guy's dedicated. He worked harder than probably 90% of the athletes that I work with.
That's insane.
Yeah,
Well, that's a
he was.
different mindset.
Oh, and if he took that shirt off, he looked like a men's physique competitor. He was ripped.
Wow.
He was chiseled.
Dang.
Yeah.
And did he find you? Did he see, hey, that guy? I want to look like him. People's contact this guy for me. Like,
Well,
how did that happen?
he worked out at that powerhouse gym I was telling you about that I started going to. I'd seen him in there every once in a while
Oh,
come in
where?
with a
Which
very
powerhouse was it?
he was powerhouse in Chatsworth.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had seen him in there a few times, and like not approachable at all because he'd always be with like 3 or 4 like Crips, like clear gangsters, and you just don't like you just admire from afar. That's Dr. Dre,
Yeah.
and I was training clients, so he kind of knew who I was. I knew he had gone through like 2 or 3 different trainers for long periods of time, and this was in like probably 2005, 2006, 2007, that time. So he was already very, very well established,
Yeah.
and he knew that these things were coming up. So he says, I want a better trainer. So he asked to meet me, and he interviewed me. I went through about 3 interviews just to get a job to train this guy. It was
That
crazy.
is so cool.
Yeah, it was.
And how did they approach you again? Sorry.
So that was nerve wracking. So we had a mutual friend named Jay, Jared Bible. So Jared hit me up, said, "Hey, Dre wants to meet with you and ask you some questions. I said, for training? He said, yeah, I think he wants you to train him. So
he wants you
literally,
to be on the next rap album.
yeah, and I don't know. I had no idea. Like, what does he want me for? He always had these like trainers,
Asian's gonna spit some rhymes.
Yeah, so it was like literally it was so nerve-wracking. Like we went out to dinner once and he had like 7 bodyguards around him, and like he was just asking me all kinds of like diet questions. It was like we're at this like what's this that sushi bar on Sunset, like the one that the really nice one at the balcony on the top, right on Sunset.
Katana.
Katanas, exactly. Yeah. Katanas. We're sitting out there, and me and Dr. Dre and like all his bodyguards around it. And then he invited me to the house, and he wanted to hear my prices at the house. So it was like so nerve-wracking going to Dr. Dre's house and sitting.
What do I charge him? Do I triple the price?
Yeah, exactly. How do you charge? I don't know how to charge. Like, how do you charge celebrities? So I remember calling.
And how do you charge friends? That's another note, by the way. But anyways.
Well, there's ways around that too, but like with the celebrity clients, like I didn't know, and so I called Weeder Publications. I knew a couple of guys that knew a lot of celebrities, and they're like, you don't charge like celebrities by the hour, because by the hour means nothing to these people. You got to put together like a package, and put it together. They'll pay, charge by the month. So I sat up all night and I was thinking like start from the top, and like I put together like a platinum package for training, and part of that entailed. I probably shouldn't even give out my secrets to how these contracts put together. But anyways, I would put the platinum package would be basically like you have 24-hour access to use me as your trainer at any time. So if you want to train at 2 a.m, call me and I have to be there. If we pack to leave, and this is Dre is the king of this. He would say, hey, we're leaving for a month, like 2 days before, and he'd say, hey, we're leaving for a month, and pack your stuff. You got to be ready to go. I got to drop everybody. And do his thing. So, there's a lot of stipulations during that contract that, I was at his beck and call. Everyone knows if you're like a person like Dr. Dre, of course he's going to pick the best package, and then because everything else you put under it, you just take away some of those amenities. He's not going to want that. So yeah, I charged, I took a gamble, but I did feel that if I'm going to be like his bitch, basically, I'm going to charge a lot. And I charged a lot and he paid me. And it was like, he got exactly what he asked for. And I got him in the best shape of his life. And, it was a good relationship.
That's awesome.
Do you still talk to him? Yeah, we still talk every once in a while. If I see him here and there, we'll stop.
You see him here and there? I've never seen him.
He lives out here. Yeah, he lives out here in
the valley.
In the valley. Well, he's got a place out here. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's insane. And have you talked to him since like he was in the hospital and stuff? Because
I sent him a message, but like, I'm sure that whole divorce did not help that at all.
Yeah, I saw that on TMZ. I was like, oh, I'm sure this is
That's insane how much money she was like trying to, I don't know. Like to me, I thought it was insane how much she's trying to get out of him. But
well, I guess when you're worth billions.
Yeah, no, but she was also trying to claim that, she had rights to the name Dr. Dre. Like, come on,
Oh, that's a lot, actually.
Yeah, she was saying that. She wanted like, $2 million a month, and then like the itemization of it was crazy. Like the attorneys were charging like $2 million, and they hadn't even been on the job 30 days, and it was like just like extortion. Now that's what I saw.
Meet her at the house?
What's that?
You ever meet her at his house?
Oh yeah, I used to have to travel with them together.
Where did you guys travel to? Like, and literally, did he train every day when you guys were on vacation?
So like when we would leave from work, he would go, hey, we're gonna go to Miami. Pick a hotel. We're going to go there for a couple of weeks. And then my whole job is just get up there and set up shop, find the gym, find the restaurants, get the foods ready, and like, do all that stuff. But then he would also say, hey, we're going to fly to the island of Mystique, or we're going to go rent this island, and I want you to come. And then, so we would go, and he said, you're going to train, but we would never train because he'd be partying all night long. So it was like, I would just go and just get paid.
And party.
These crazy exotic. Yeah. We'd go all these islands, the West Indies, and it was insane. It was such a fun experience.
Like, could you bring someone, or was it just you?
Yeah, there was like there was times too, like where he would say, "Hey, so for my birthday, I want to go to like one of these islands. I can't remember all the name of the different islands in the West Indies, but there's like private islands that you can rent, where it's just like a couple mansions on the island." So he would go, "We're gonna get the island. I'm gonna rent 5 of the mansions." He goes, "I'm gonna get you a what do they call the G6 or whatever the private plane." He goes, "You and Jay's the guy that introduced us. That's your plane. Bring as many girls as you can bring that the airline won't let you bring." So like literally we would just invite like 10, 15 girls.
Wow.
And then he would fly another with all of his like other rap friends, and we would just fly all over these different islands.
That's insane.
It was crazy. I'm talking like huge mansions, like in like 20,000 square foot mansions, like insane castles. Like he would rent like 5 of them, and then we'd just party out of every one of them different nights.
Oh my God. That's like honestly a once in a lifetime opportunity to like.
Oh, without a doubt. There was an island we rented where you stay out. You're the only one on the island, just you and your friend or friends. And so the bed, there'll be a bed on one end of the island, and there's no, it's not even a room. It's just a bed on the beach with the curtain. And you have butlers. There's a butler that's like you buzz, and they'll come from the middle of nowhere. But that's all it is. You just live on an island. There's nothing. You just chill.
That is insane.
Yeah, it's freaky.
I don't know what to say. Like,
yeah, it was a great experience. Yeah,
well, I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
aside from training Dre, you train Exhibit, 50 Cent for a while.
Yeah.
I have a question about GSP though, George St. Pierre. So usually MMA dudes, they go for speed, muscle, like slow them down. Like, why of all people he would ask you to train him? Because, I mean,
no, I know exactly what you mean by that.
Yeah.
So at the time, he was just becoming the world champ, and we were both sponsored by the same company called Biotest. And I can't remember who his trainer was in Canada. Had told him that, when you go to the States, he was going to be in Vegas and come to LA for some meetings that he should train, So he hit me up. He's like, hey, let's train. I know you're into martial arts and you're into bodybuilding. So, I grew up with a martial arts background first before bodybuilding. So I had
what martial arts did you do?
Everything. I did everything. So like Kung Fu, Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu towards the end, like the last 6 years of before bodybuilding, I was doing still jiu-jitsu. So, I was really into it. I wanted to be an MMA fighter. That's what I wanted to do. Thank God I never went that route. That would have been horrible. I remember I told my mom, I want to be on the UFC 1 and 2, all those we were watching. That's what I want to do.
Your mom must have been like, no.
She's like, no, don't do that. Are you crazy? You're going to ruin your face.
I'll let you get tattoos before you do the UFC.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, it's so true. So yeah, so he would come and we would train. He'd come up with meetings. It wouldn't be like any martial arts training. It'd be like core training, just core strength stuff that is not going to slow him down. So that's how we would train, and then we would go party.
I was going to ask my next question: if you ever partied with GSP?
Of course, yeah, we partied. Yes.
So he would come down to the States to train, or he'd stay here for a while before a fight, or is that how it works?
Yeah, he would come here and meet with, I don't know, he was sponsored by Affliction, and Affliction is based out of Southern California. So he would always come out here and have their meetings with him, and various things he'd be out here for. But he'd love coming out here because he'd party, and he had a couple of girlfriends that he'd see out here. Yeah,
just the couple.
Yeah, it's crazy if you if you saw the girls that he liked too.
I heard he likes chicks that are very different than he is.
Very different, yeah. Very. I'll just say this, right? I won't say what type of girls he likes, but I remember he goes, "Oh, I get to meet this girl tonight." I said, "Oh, who's the girl? Where does she live?" He goes, "In Compton." I said,
oh
I said, "Bro, God. I grew up here in Southern California. I never met a girl that said she was from Compton. No girls would say they're from Compton. Like they lie.
Not
they say I'm from
anyway, unless she's going for some street cred.
I don't know, but you can only imagine, that's the type of girls he liked.
I think the type of girls he likes, I'm not saying that Serena and Venus Williams are Compton, but he likes like that.
Well, okay, yeah, and his dream girl was Serena. That was his dream. He used to always ask me, "Can you hook me up with her?" I'm like, I don't even know her, but I can probably call some people. But that was his dream girl. Oh my God,
he likes them voluptuous and
that's funny. Yep,
that is hilarious.
So true.
So you trained a bunch of celebrities, and that's a very niche market. But now you're more catering to the public, if you will.
Yeah, it's a very niche market, and the money, if it's right place, right time. There's a lot of guys that are making a ton of money that are shitty trainers. It's just the problem for me was now that I have kids, I didn't want to leave and travel. Working on a set, sometimes you got to be gone for 6 months, and I didn't want to be away from my kids. One, number two, I didn't want to be a babysitter anymore. You train a celebrity, you're literally like their bitch sometimes,
yeah, you're their slave.
Yeah, or the babysitting, the getting these people to do what they need to do because they're so damn lazy, or they're not even into fitness, but they have to do it for a role. It's like, it's like not fun at all dealing with pretentious people, privileged people like that. So I just got turned off by it.
Yeah, but honestly, like, who doesn't want to be fit? That's my question.
A lot of people, the problem is a lot of these guys have like these roles where it's like, okay, you're gonna have to take your shirt off, and all of a sudden, if you have to take your shirt off in a scene, they're instantly insecure because now they're going to be the talk of the town if they're not in shape. But they're just not motivated still. They don't understand what it takes to get in shape. It's not easy to do all this, but like all these guys just don't have it in them.
I don't know. It feels good to be in shape, but then again, we're not like them, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess, So I just kind of, I don't know. I didn't care how much money you paid me. I just got turned off by it. So to me, I like the drastic opposite, meaning I like competitive guys. I still train a handful of competitive guys because I don't want to compete, but like if you're good, and I like sharing my knowledge to try and get these guys ready. And then mainly I like regular people that just want to be in the best shape of their life, that don't want the extreme, So that's my favorite type of client.
Are most of your clients in your company, Physique Inc., is it mostly majority regular people and like a fraction competitors? What's the balance?
Well, I would say probably the high majority of ours are competitive, or they want to be competitive. That is our niche. That's our specialty. I mean, all of our coaches, of the 7 coaches, all 7 of us compete or are professional bodybuilders. So that is first and foremost. But like, when I tell people that we're transformation specialists, or we work on symmetry and aesthetics, people go, well, I don't want to just look good, but in reality, why wouldn't you want to look good? And you're going to get in shape along the way. It's not just like about trying to lose weight and taking a Weight Watchers diet, and we're going to show you the complete package. You're going to like look the best you can be, if you're going to diet. So, and a lot of people that want to look like that are athletes, but we're getting a lot more and more like more mainstream people, because we kind of toned it down. We don't want to just be, corner ourselves in the market to where we only cater to competitive bodybuilders. Because actually competitive bodybuilders, the work is 10 times harder too.
Yeah. And plus people like are intimidated when they see like a company saying whatever bodybuilding competitions. They're intimidated.
No, absolutely right. That's what we're trying to change actually over the next the quarter here, is really make a transition in how we're like handling our social media and how we're marketing everything. But like, the analogy is, you don't have to compete, but like, if you're really going to like if you want to be aggressive with how you do this and get things done, it's like, you're like, try bodybuilding diet, along with our slight changes and everything. But like, your physique is going to look a lot better than if you were just eating some crazy, I'll use it again, like a Weight Watchers diet. You're not going to look great doing these diets.
No, that's a whole different ballpark, because I've seen articles where like, oh, all they drank was soup. I'm like, how is that even healthy?
I know these crazy things that people do, right?
Everyone wants a shortcut. Drinks broth all day.
Right. Of course you're going to lose water weight. Right. That's so funny.
Your company is called Physique Inc., and that you modeled that after like a Murder Inc. type of thing, from what I've read.
Oh yeah, so you did read that. I did repeat that somewhere. Yeah, I really did. That was really catchy. The ink thing, it was like Physique Inc. Yeah, well, it's Physique Incorporated.
Hip hop guy, so
yeah, there you go. Physique Incorporated is how we started it. Yeah,
awesome. Well, it's been like really awesome talking to you, because we never talk outside of fitness events and stuff like that.
Right.
But I want to leave on a light, funny note, and I have a little game. If you're prepared, it's called Never Have I Ever. You may not have played this before.
Okay. All right.
I prepared some questions for you, and we're going to have some fun, and we're going to play this game. Hopefully you can answer these.
Okay, I'll do my best. Yeah.
All right. First of all, never have I ever caught my parents having sex.
Oh, yeah, I've never caught them, and like I don't know, I used to cringe even thinking about it. So yeah, I would never even try to listen. So if I I would never even go there. I'd never heard. Thank God, no.
You would just turn up the music or something.
Yeah, no, I've never heard that.
Have your kids ever caught you? You and your wife?
No, neither. Like, no, they have not. No.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Luckily, they have the same mentality.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's funny. Have you?
Yes.
Oh
Oh my
man,
God.
no way.
That was fucking scar. Excuse my language. I
Yeah.
was like, what? I was
How old were
scarred.
you?
I was in high school.
Oh no. Oh my
It
God.
was, thanks for bringing up a horrible memory.
Holy
Anyways,
shit. Did they
I
see
need
they
therapy
saw that
now.
they
Oh
saw you?
yeah, totally. I walked
Oh my
in.
God.
Let's not even talk about
Oh
it.
my God. Yeah. I would never want to see that. I don't know why.
You don't trust me.
Yeah.
You don't. All right, next question. Never have I ever talked shit about someone over text and ended up sending it to them.
Oh man. Yeah, like one thing that comes to mind that happened was I thought I was texting. I thought I was texting a friend, and I was talking about my girlfriend when I was like trying to get out of the relationship, and I was just kind of bashing her, and I realized I sent it right to her.
Oh God.
Yeah, that was horrible because it was so
So what
sad. You know?
happened?
Oh yeah, we broke up after that for
And
sure.
what did she reply or like?
Yeah, she goes, "You idiot! You just sent that to me, you fucking idiot!" She just started talking smack to me, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I just did that."
Well, at least you got the job
Yeah.
done.
Now, like, she got me so paranoid that even it could be like a business text. I double check who I'm saying this to.
Well, it's a good way to break up with someone. Just like,
Oh God, I felt so bad. Yeah,
well, at least you felt bad.
I did. I always felt bad.
Did you feel bad about talking shit about her though?
Well, yeah. I mean, what's kind of stuff she already knew. I just kind of added a little bit of flavor to it, so it doesn't look good when you're reading a text and I'm like pissed.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Sorry, I can't even stop laughing. These are so stupid. Never have I ever clogged a toilet at a friend's house and left the scene of the crime.
Oh my God. Thank God I've never actually clogged a toilet, but oh man, I remember going into a toilet once and I had to go so bad. Being a bodybuilder, like stomach was
Number
jacked
one
up
or
a lot.
two.
Yeah, number two, I had to go bad and like I just like it didn't matter how many times you courtesy flush. Courtesy flush. I mean, I'm sure everyone's got to know courtesy flush. And the minute that shit touches the water, you got to be hitting that thing. Yeah. And I just like didn't matter. Like the thing was so bad, and like there was 3 girls that had to go to the bathroom right after me, and just like the walk of shame when you come out of it. And there was no spray. It was like, oh my God, you can only stay in there so long that there's no fan. It's like you got to come out and deal with it. And it's like I hate that feeling. Yeah. So embarrassing.
She carries some matches around with you when you're a bodybuilder.
Oh my God. Well, I don't normally expect to take a crap at someone's, like, it was an apartment too. It wasn't like just like some big house where I can go hide on the other end of the house. So bad.
All right, next one's easy. Never have I ever said a baby was cute when it's ugly.
Oh man. I mean, hasn't everybody done that? I don't know. Come on.
Well, I feel like when you're older, like, oh, your baby. I don't say it's cute. I just say your baby, stating because it's a fact. It's a baby.
I mean, I think it's also a fact too that like not all babies are cute. I mean, they're not really cute in the beginning, right? Not
no,
always.
I've seen some butt ass babies.
Yeah, so like but they change, so like you can call them that, but like we've all thought that. Come on, of course
we have.
I'm pretty sure.
I am super guilty. Super guilty. Okay. All right. Okay. So next one. Never have I ever crop dusted and blamed it on someone else.
Oh man. I'm sure I've done that plenty of times. Like as a guy, we all do it. You're in the car, like, oh, you did that. You blame it all the time. It's like
you hot box it.
Yeah, you're right. I have done that plenty of times, actually. Yeah.
You know what's the worst place for that? Are fitness events.
On the plane. I've never done it on the plane, but like people do it and you go, oh my God, it's so bad.
Oh my God.
Like everyone's gassy on a plane, like the air pressure,
Yeah, it's the worst, but not that I know about that. So the fitness events and at like a nightclub, people always like fucking crop dust at nightclubs.
Yeah, I've done that too. You're right. God damn. Yeah, I mean, because it's nightclubs. Like no one's ever gonna know who did it at a nightclub.
It's so dark.
Yeah, I've done that plenty of times.
Walking in the dark.
Every guy does that. Come on. What are you gonna do? Like, hold on, time out. I'm gonna go to the bathroom so I can fart. Nobody does that. You're gonna crop dust the whole club.
Oh my God. My first boyfriend used to do that and laugh. I'm like, you're disgusting. Like, you're so embarrassing.
That is hilarious.
All right, last one. Okay, I have two more actually, because I thought of one on the fly. But what first is never have I ever waxed my balls.
Oh man, is this TMI or it doesn't matter here? Right?
No, no such thing as TMI.
Okay, I've never even shaved my balls, and I'm Asian, so I don't have hair on my balls. I got a lot of the Japanese side, so we don't have hair on the balls. So why would I even wax it? So no.
Thank the Lord Jesus for your sake.
Right, I guess so. Right,
hair on your chest.
Like a little bit, like not much.
You have like some like randoms.
Like from far away, you couldn't see I have hair, so I have like a little bit of hair. No, I don't have the randoms, but like it's just like nothing. Like I don't have to shave it. It's nothing.
How about your arms and legs? Because
no,
like bodybuilders,
nothing.
Huh? Look at that.
And I used to get made fun of when I was a kid because everyone used to make fun of, or even in high school, oh, you shave your legs, you're gay, whatever. I'm like, I don't shave it. I just don't have hair. And then all of a sudden, you get older, all guys are shaving their legs. Every bodybuilder shaves their legs and they get all that crap off. It's so funny.
Easy job for you then.
Yeah, I don't shave.
And how about your face?
I mean, I can't grow a beard. I mean, it'd take me about a month to grow a full mustache.
Whereas some guys, it takes like 5 days.
Like our buddy Tim. Tim could shave in the morning and he's got that 5 o'clock shadow already. It's like, damn.
It's like so thick.
Yes.
It's
they
like,
can grow that in a week.
It's
yeah,
like,
I can't do that.
Yeah, no, not in our genetics. Okay, well, last one. I should have saved a better one for the last one, but this one I thought of in my head. Have you ever cocked blocked any of your friends, like guy or girl? Oh, I could tell by that reaction what it is.
Man, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think I've done that plenty of times.
Tell us why.
I don't know. Like we'll be out, you're out, and it's like
way between like.
Well, it's like like your buddy doesn't really know the chick either. I mean, he's trying to, but like the girl's kind of up in the air, so it's like it's one of those competitive things. Yeah, I've done that. I've been guilty of that. Yes.
That's hilarious. I love it.
Oh my God.
Anyways, tell the audience, tell the audience where they can find you, your Instagram, your website, if they want you for training. They want to say, oh, I want the trainer to train me, that train Dr. Dre.
Right. Well, my Instagram and Facebook, it's Stan the Man McQuay. But if you want to contact me regarding nutrition, you want to be in the best shape of your life, want to lose weight, we're transformation specialists. It's Physique Inc. on all formats. Inc. Physique awesome. Inc. Yes.
Well, if I want to get in the best shape of my life, which I might need to very soon, I will definitely hit you up.
Yeah, I got your back for sure. Yeah. We can do it.
So, yeah. Well, it's been super fun. We got to do this again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm honored. Thanks for having me on.
It's been a pleasure. So, yeah. Check him out. And thanks for being on.
All right. Peace.
Bye.